Hey guys, it's Surya and today's Monday, which means it's time for another tutorial. So today we're going to learn how to solve the GearCube Extreme in brief. I've explained it in detail last week. I recommend you watch that first if you don't know how to solve this at all. So in here I'm just going to explain the algorithms and such. I'm not going to give a detailed explanation or anything. Hope you enjoy the video. So before we get into how to solve the GearCube Extreme, let's just look at some key things about it that would help us solve it throughout the tutorial. So the first thing to remember about the GearCube Extreme, it's a tougher version of the normal GearCube. I don't have a GearCube, I have a gear ball, which I like to call an inflated version of the GearCube. It's the same thing. The key thing to remember is that it's the same. It's the same except that these edges are normal edges. They're not like these. These edges are all rotatory gears, while these are normal. That's the key difference. That's what allows you to make these 90-degree turns instead of all 180. If it was all 180, then this side would only be able to jumble with this side and so on. But over here, because these are allowed, this side can jumble with this and so on. So that complicates things. That's the key thing to remember. Another thing to remember is just like in the GearCube or the gear ball, when you move this 8 times, everything comes back to where it is, but these 4 edges all get rotated. So if you move this clockwise 8 times, let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're all in their places, but each of them got rotated anti-clockwise by 120 degrees. Which means that if we do it 2 more times, this 8 times thingy, it'll go back to where it started. And if you do it anti-clockwise, it'll move clockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's a pretty useful concept to remember. So now that we know this, let's get into how to solve it. So the GearCube Extreme is jumbled. It looks very, very intimidating. Just look at it. I mean, you try to solve something, it's all messed up. But don't worry, let's just stay calm. Let's start with something small. Let's not try to solve any of these yet. Let's do something simple, like this. This is called the equatorial belt. It's this middle layer. It's made of these edges which don't have gears. Let's try to solve them. Because all moves relating to them all involve 180-degree turns, I mean, you can't really move one of these out of their place by 90 degrees. You never find these edges over there. You always find them in this ring. Things get easier. It also means that because only 180-degree moves are allowed, you'd never see a green over here. Greens and blues only remain over here or there, with only the equatorial belt, by the way, and that too only these edges. Let's not look at the centers yet either. Even within the equatorial belt, let's start small. Let's first solve these edges and then the centers. So with these edges, you can either have green and blue edges here or there. And as for red and orange, same thing. They'll either be here or there. Let's not look at the centers just yet. So now that we know that, let's try to solve just 2 of these edges. I mean, if we solve these 2, then these 2 get solved because they're kind of synchronized, you could say. So let's just try it. I mean, you could start with this if you wanted, but it really does not matter. Let's just rotate this. It doesn't work, which means that this green is over here. How do we bring that there? Well, that's easy. We can just switch these 2 pieces first, this and this, and then we just bring that there. So these 2 are solved. Let's go into this. Well, let's see. We have the red over here and a red over here. We can just bring them together. Now that's over. Let's solve these centers. So we have a green here and a blue here. It's supposed to be switched. How do we do that? Well, we can move this 4 times. That way this layer would move twice and nothing would happen basically. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's solved. Over here, this it's the same situation as before. This needs to go all the way there. That needs to come all the way here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. That's done. Now that that's done, let's go into solving these corners. They're already solved for now, but I'm just going to mess it up and explain it to you. Okay, here you go. All these centers are mixed up. These corners, sorry. Now first, let's bring these corners to their sides. We're not talking about solving these. We're talking about solving the top and the bottom, which is purple and yellow. So let's try that. Let's start with something small. Basically, we have this purple center here, which means that this is the purple side. I know there's an equal number of purple and yellow corners here, but it's the center that decides. It kind of breaks the tie, you could say. So it's over here. So we need to bring as many purple corners as we can here. Over here we have a slightly more complicated situation. Now first let's just bring one of them. We can't bring both of them at the same time since they're both on opposite sides. I mean, intuitively, let's just do it in a simple way. So what we can do, we can bring this side down, move this edge in there and bring it back up. That way we just bring one of these inside. That's all that matters. Let's do that. Bring this down here, move this edge into this line of movement and bring it back up. I mean, sure, we haven't been able to solve this, but that's fine. Let's do that now. So now that we have reached a situation where only one of the corners need to be switched, we do what we do basically what I explained. We keep one corner here and one corner here. Basically, these two need to be exchanged. Now you move this down, move this to the side, and move this back. That's it. That's all four solved. Okay, so we need to rearrange these corners, bring them to their right places within their layer. Now I have an algorithm. It basically switches these two and switches these two. So over here, this layer seems to be completely messed up. Nothing matches. So we need to switch these two and then these two. Whatever happens here is not our concern yet. So here's the algorithm. Right side clockwise twice, down anti-clockwise once, right side clockwise twice, down clockwise, right side clockwise twice, down anti-clockwise, right side clockwise twice, down anti-clockwise, right side clockwise twice, down twice, and right side anti-clockwise twice. There you go. As you can see, these two have been switched and these two have been switched. So this whole layer is solved, but that doesn't mean we're done. We need to switch these two. So let's bring these two here. Let's do the algorithm again. There you go. Now this entire layer is solved. So let's go into this layer and do it again. So these two need to be switched. There you go. These two have been switched and this layer has been completely messed up. But don't worry, now that we can switch these two, this layer will get solved. There you go. We've solved this layer as well. This step, sorry. Now that we've done that, let's get into solving these edges. Okay, when solving these edges, not the equatorial belt edges, we need to do two steps. First, we need to bring them to their layer and then rearrange them. Of course, orienting them correctly is the last step. You don't need to worry about their orientation for now. Just look at their colors. Okay, so first we'll bring them to their layer in this step. So I have an algorithm. It switches this and this, these two. So we need to make sure the pieces are in the right place. We need a purple edge to be here and a yellow edge to be here. I mean, if they're all in their place, then good, you can skip this step, but if they're not. So we have one yellow edge here, which means there must be a purple edge over here. Let's bring it there. So these two need to be switched. Here's what you do. Right side clockwise twice, up clockwise, right side anti-clockwise twice, up anti-clockwise. That's it. Just do that 5 times. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. There you go. I'm sure you must have thought it would be more difficult, but no, it's that easy. Now we just switch this and this one. Let's bring this over there. These two need to be switched. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. It's solved. Now that we've done that, we just need to bring these edges to their right places. Okay, so we have a particularly difficult situation here. I thought I'd start with this because it would explain both the algorithms relating to their rearrangement very quickly. So we need to rearrange them. Basically, here's the thing. We have an algorithm that affects the top layer and the bottom layer. Okay, so let's just look it over here. I mean, you can have situations where the entire bottom layer is completely solved and this top layer is mixed up, or vice versa. So it really depends. But either way, these algorithms are applicable to both. So first, we have this really complicated situation on top. This edge needs to go there. This one needs to go there. That needs to go there. That needs to go there. And pretty much the same thing with the bottom layer. It's all mixed up. So first thing, let's just simplify this algorithm, this situation. Basically, this edge needs to go there, that needs to go there. Whenever we have a situation where any edge needs to go to its opposite side, this particular algorithm is applicable. So these two need to be switched. Along with, let's just look for two things that need to be switched in the bottom layer. It's okay if there's nothing. So these two need to be switched. There you go. This needs to go there. This doesn't need to go there, but it's fine. We can always switch it. And that needs to go there. So basically we have an algorithm that switches these two and these two. So we can just do that to these two and then these two. That kind of simplifies things. So first let's switch these and these. Here's what we do. Right side clockwise twice and twice again. Right side clockwise 4 times. Up clockwise twice or anti-clockwise. And right side anti-clockwise 4 times. That's it. Just bring this back. And we can see that this blue edge is over here. This is still mixed, but that doesn't matter. This one is also solved. Now let's switch these two and these two. Let's go over here. Same algorithm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move this. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. Now we've reached a particularly simple situation. These two are completely solved. As you can see, it's red and blue. And on this bottom layer, we can see that these two are solved. Orange and green. So now we have these two edges need to be switched. And, well, these two edges need to be switched. Luckily, we have an algorithm for that. So first thing we need to do, we need to keep these two over here and the other two over here. So let's just move this here. So these two need to be switched and these two need to be switched. Let's get into that. Here's what you do. Right side clockwise twice, down clockwise once, right side clockwise twice, up clockwise twice, right side clockwise 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, up clockwise twice again, right side clockwise twice, down anti-clockwise, and right side anti-clockwise twice. That's it. There you go. It's been switched. This is entirely solved. Now, of course, many times you can get other confusing situations. I'll just go over a few of them just so that you can get yourself familiarized with what to do. So here we seem to have this weird situation where this entire layer is solved. And over here, this blue edge is solved. Now these pieces all need to move clockwise. This needs to come here, this needs to come here, and that needs to go there. So at first it seems like we don't even have an algorithm for this. And like we have nothing that we can do. I mean, we could switch these, but that would switch these and overcomplicate things. So let me just give you an alternative way of looking at this. Don't think of it as these moving clockwise. Think of it as, well, you need to switch these two first. So this piece gets to where it needs to be. That would bring this there. And then we switch these two. So instead of one clockwise movement, it's two adjacent switches. Does that make sense? Well, it should, because that's how we're going to tackle this. So first we switch these two, messing up two of these. And then we switch these two, messing up the two of them again. So they get switched twice or nothing at all. So let's try that. So these two need to be switched and we could switch these two. Let's do the algorithm. There you go. Now this has been solved. And these two need to be switched and these two need to be switched. We've reached a familiar situation. Let's do the same algorithm again. And there you go. So all these situations are just about using these two algorithms in different ways just to get what you want. So good luck with that. If you have any questions with this, let me know in the comments below. You can even watch my fully explained tutorial on this. I've explained all the situations and stuff. So anyway, now that we've done that, let's get into the last step, which is orienting these. Okay, so before I go into exactly explaining how to reorient these edges, let me just show you the algorithms and explain why they're so useful. So first, here's the algorithm for moving them clockwise. So it moves this edge and these three all in the clockwise direction. So here's what it is. So right side clockwise twice, up clockwise once, right side clockwise twice, up clockwise once, and then right side anti-clockwise 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then up anti-clockwise once, right side anti-clockwise twice, up anti-clockwise once, right side anti-clockwise twice. That does it. See? Now for moving them anti-clockwise, here's what you do. By the way, it moves this and these three all in the anti-clockwise direction. It's basically the opposite of this algorithm. So right side clockwise twice, up clockwise, right side clockwise twice, up clockwise, and then right side clockwise 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Up anti-clockwise, right side anti-clockwise twice, up anti-clockwise, right side anti-clockwise twice. There you go. Now the whole thing is solved. Now let me explain why this is the most efficient. First off, the right side clockwise or anti-clockwise 8 times, you may recognize from the beginning of the video. We're going to pick this up in a second. I'm going to go attend to my cat. Well, my cat is well fed, so now we can continue. So anyway, so the right side clockwise or anti-clockwise 8 times just twists these pieces. Then you may ask, why doesn't it twist these 4 pieces? Why these 4? Well, that's where this right side clockwise twice up, right side clockwise twice up comes in. It goes and it basically aligns these 4 in a straight line. And then the 8 times thing just rotates them. And then we undo it and bring them back to where they were. That's why it affects these 4. Now, why do we use this algorithm that affects these 4? Well, because it only affects one in one particular layer. Now, let's assume we have a really complicated situation where these are twisted and this is twisted and that's twisted and all of that. Now, if we had an algorithm which twisted these 2 and these 2, we'd always have to think about how to align them properly so that we could twist those and how we could use them to like make it quick. It would get so complicated, it's just really not practical. Luckily, this algorithm only twists one in one particular layer. So if we have a really mixed up state, we can just solve this entire layer by just going one by one, no matter what happens to this. We can turn the cube around, we can solve these one by one, and then we can just keep doing that until it's solved. Once again, just like rearranging these corners, it's easier done than said. So let's get into it. Okay, so here's a complicated situation. I'm going to walk you through it as to how to do it so that you can get the feel of it. Let's hold the cube. First, let's twist this. Now we want to maximize our efforts. So let's just align these 3 like this. I mean, we could do the algorithm like this, but that would twist all 4 of this and it would just waste more time. So, just to minimize the damage caused to the already solved edges, let's just focus on these 3. Yeah. So this needs to move clockwise. Let's prioritize this. Some of these need to move anti-clockwise, but that does not matter. We need to prioritize this over everything. This needs to move clockwise. Let's use the clockwise algorithm. There you go. This has been solved. Now we hold it in the same orientation. We can see only this is left. Now let's solve this one. This needs to move anti-clockwise. So let's do that. There you go. Now this entire layer is solved. These 3 are mixed up. Let's turn this around. Now let's have all these 3 focus their powers, so to speak, on these 3 edges. So each time, let's bring this edge in front over here to this point and let's do the algorithm. So this needs to move anti-clockwise. Let's do an anti-clockwise algorithm. This has been solved. Let's go on to the next one. This needs to move clockwise. This has also been solved. Let's go into this last one. This needs to move clockwise. There you go. Now this entire layer has been solved. Now only these 3 are left and they've all been oriented the same way. They all need to move anti-clockwise. That means we've reached the final stage. That's because we move each of these 3 in the same direction thrice. And what happens when we move it once? It moves 120 degrees. So 120 into 3 is 360 degrees or not at all. So it's going to get solved this time. This needs to be anti-clockwise. That's solved. So the next one. It's also been solved. Last one. And drum roll please. And there you go. We solved the GearCube Extreme. So congratulations. Hope you enjoyed this.